So on the list we have certainly, I think one of my favorite big cap projects. We have Chainlink, ticker Link, Link. I definitely say do some research on what they do. They're a very, very key part in the crypto infrastructure. But then looking at it from a chart perspective, I think the chart is in a really good place. I think we've seen obviously a couple of really strong months have pushed it back to near where we were at the start of the year. So I think let's have a look and map out where this could go. So as usual, we will map out the all-time high up here, and we will map out the all-time low down here, which is where it listed on OKX, and I meant to make that red, so all-time low. So what do we have from a level perspective? So if we zoom in, where do we have levels? So working down, we've got a level there, so we'll make that white. We have a level there. We've got one here. We have another one here. We've got one there. We've got a really strong level there just below. There's one there at $6. That's a really interesting level at 11. So if we move across, do we encapsulate? Yeah, that one's a bit close, but I think we're covered by those up there. There's one in the middle of the range there. And so that's all of them. So if we go through and we will write out monthly on every single one of these, just so we know where they came from. And we'll leave the ones a little bit lower down because I don't think we'll see this price again, considering this was bear market prices. So let's zoom in on the weekly, and what do we see? So we can see that we have gained these monthly levels as we pushed up. There's a nice weekly level there that I will map out where we see an impulse. We've got an interesting one there. And we can see on this week we've come down, we've retested that monthly level, and we've pushed back off it. Do we have any weekly levels here that we could potentially look at that are interesting? We do. There's a weekly level there. And there's one there. There's also one there that's slightly above. We'll put it in. It feels close. That's a really interesting level because we see that's quite an interesting candle. So if we go in and we will write weekly. And so if we zoom out, what can we see? So we can see it actually rejected off that previous weekly level. So we can see candle bodies moving in there and the wick moving off there. So it shows that we're on the right track when it comes to levels. And we can see on the daily, just straight respecting it, I think we've got a daily level there that could be an interesting retest zone. But quite honestly, I think really interesting position. I think if we come back out, zoom out, and what does this look like? We see that there's loads and loads of liquidity on this top side that we've still chanced to get. So we could potentially see the liquidity taken there. We could potentially see that taken. We could potentially see that taken. So quite a lot of upside here. There's a lot of risk in the fact that we've pushed up quite significantly, so we may see retracements down and retests of these levels. That's obviously quite a big fair value gap on the weekly. On the lower time frames, we can see it's at the minute it's trading between this range. We can see these levels are quite interesting because it will trade between before pushing up. If we go back to the weekly, where does the volume sit on this? Yeah, so we can see not a huge amount of volume sits above where we are. So if we zoom in on a local level, let's go down to the daily and zoom in here. Where are we likely to see some reactions on Chainlink? So here's an interesting spot. We can see obviously it's bounced back around this monthly. There's an interesting spot a little bit further up. So what I will do is I will get my box, and I think this is potentially an area of interest. Yeah, I think that may be a good position there to look at sort of where we're going to run from here. But yeah, I like Chainlink. I would just be cautious of where you're getting an entry if you don't already have one, because it has run up quite hard, certainly from this $16 mark at the start of the month. So potentially look at where this falls to and where you may get an entry on.